So the other day, I made a video talking about somebody's customized Surface Duo 2, and I got a comment on that video that kind of got my brain, the wheels turning a little bit. Let me show you the comment really quickly. It'd be easier just to start there. This is from Griot1981, and basically what they say is that they are a Pixel Fold user now, former Surface Duo 2 user, and they find that they use their Pixel Fold entirely differently than they did their Surface Duo 2. With Duo, they were multitasking all the time. Every time they pick it up, they immediately open two apps. They rarely do that on their Pixel Fold. Now, that is mostly true for me. I wouldn't say that I rarely do split screen on the Pixel Fold, but I definitely do it more, or did it more, on Surface Duo 2. And I kind of want to explore this a little bit because I think it's kind of interesting that there's basically a gradient for me of maybe not just the ease of multitasking, but the prevalency, how often I actually did it. And it goes Duo, Pixel Fold, and then either Z Fold or OnePlus Open being on the least multitasking side. And I kind of want to explore why I think that is, because I think it's interesting how the form factor makes such a big difference in how I actually use these devices. And I want to see if you guys are the same, if you find this relatable. So here is my mostly dead Surface Duo 2. For those that maybe don't know or aren't familiar with this device, maybe there's people that are new to this channel and came about after this thing's heyday, this is a very different kind of device because it has two distinct, discrete screens. You can fold it all the way around that way and use it as a very wide, sort of oddly shaped normal phone, but primarily you're meant to use it like this with both screens available to you. And what makes this thing so unique and so different is that if I launch an app on this screen, which I'll just go ahead and launch YouTube, it's only going to launch it over here on this screen, leaving this screen totally open. I can launch the Play Store, and there that is. It is done completely automatically. You can actually move apps back and forth from screen to screen. You can drag an app into the middle and have it go across both screens, but of course then you have a hinge, a gap down the middle, which definitely gets in the way. And for me, I found that more often than not, what would happen is I would be using this device, holding it like this, and I would potentially be using one app, but I'll be holding it like this. This just felt so comfortable to me. And then I would have this open screen over here there so that at any point something would happen. I would think of something else that I needed to do. And rather than closing this app, I would just reach over here and open up the other app and then do this and leave this thing running. And then when I was done, I could just go back to this application. Maybe I would go home. Maybe I would just leave that thing up over there. A lot of the time, I would just have YouTube running on one side, or maybe TikTok or something. I'm watching a video while maybe I'm getting some work done on the other screen, going through the news in Feedly or something like that. And basically what I'm getting at is that this device just absolutely was incredibly conducive to multitasking in a way that no other single-screened device has accomplished. Now, some of that is due to the fact that this is a dual-screen device, obviously, but a lot of that is also down to the software, because if I take a screenshot with this device, what you'll see here is that Android sees one continuous screen. They see a tablet, and the engineers, the coders, the lovely people at Microsoft, they built a system here that makes this work. And you could take this exact system and apply it to any other single screen device and have a setup where, even though it's a single screen, if you launch an app on one side of that screen, there's an artificial partition, it's going to open on one side versus the other. So it's a mixture of the hardware, but then the software that makes all of that work. Now, when we talk about single screen devices, one that comes to mind for me immediately is going to be the Pixel Fold. And perhaps you can sort of imagine why that would be. If we zoom out here, you can see that these two devices have a somewhat similar aspect ratio. They're both wider than they are tall. And so if you do indeed do some split screen work between these two devices, which I can do the same sorts of things here, basically what you have on Pixel Fold is a smaller version of what you have on Surface Duo, but like I said, I end up doing this less than I do here. And the primary reason is that ease of access. Look how easy it is to do over here, okay? You launch an app and then you launch another app. It could not be any simpler. And even though I think that it's fine on the Pixel Fold, you launch your first application, but then you have to grab your taskbar, and then maybe your app that you need is in your taskbar. Maybe you need to go into this screen and actually search for it. Maybe you have to, drag until you find a letter or type it in or something like that until you get to the Play Store you're looking for. Then you grab it and then you drag it to one side. It's better than it used to be, but there is no planet where it's quicker, easier, simpler than it is on Surface Duo or Duo 2. And if we continue this and we bring in a device like the OnePlus Open, or you could say the Z Fold, it's going to be a very, very similar experience there as well. The experience is still quite good, right? So you can open up YouTube, and on the Open, you can do your two-finger swipe down. It's going to split open, and then you're going to launch your second app. You can actually argue that this might be quicker or simpler than it is on the Pixel Fold. Let me go ahead and shrink that down so we have both on the same screen. But the problem I run into here that makes me do this less than I do it over here, you could say this might be easier to get into, but the form factor makes the big difference for me, because over here I have two skinny apps. Now on a Z Fold, they're even skinnier than this, and I would actually advise you to rotate it this way to get slightly wider apps. This way's closer, but for me, I end up not doing this. What ends up happening is I end up just not doing any split screening, or end up doing far less split screening. Now, as a quick aside, this is one of the biggest reasons why I am not in favor of the rumored changes to aspect ratio on the Pixel Fold 2, or perhaps we should call it, as it is currently rumored to be called, the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. I hope that's not the name at the end of the day, but that's the rumor. If they do indeed go to a more OnePlus Open style aspect ratio, that is absolutely going to discourage me from split screen multitasking, and that is not something that I want to have happen. It's almost like subconsciously in my mind, I sort of have like rank ordered the things that are important to me with regard to split screen multitasking. So you have aspect ratio, right? How do the two apps look? Are they sufficiently wide? Are they sufficiently tall? Is their shape what I want them to be? Is very important. And then two, how easy is it to actually do the thing? How easy is it to launch the second app? And before people say other phones can do more than two apps, I understand floating windows are awesome. For me, floating windows are cool. A third application in general, two split screen, and then a third one someplace else, I never do that. I find it to be completely useless. I pretty much just need two apps side by side, and I'd love to see a floating app on the Pixel Fold. But in lieu of that, two apps is really all I need. So we have the aspect ratio, the size and shape of the apps, and then we have how easy it is to launch the second app. And Surface Duo crushes both of those for me. Now, some people would say Duo is too wide. Each screen is too wide. You're totally fair to feel that way. For me, I like the width. I find it to be useful. That's just me. So Duo 2 crushes that for me. Pixel Fold gets the aspect ratio really quite right. It's very similar to Duo, slightly more narrow, slightly smaller overall, but it's very close and it's very, very good. The ease of launching the second app isn't quite as good. It's okay. It could be quicker. It could be easier. I can't wait till we can have the taskbar pinned down there at all times. That removes one motion. I might prefer that better. Then we get to the Z Fold or the OnePlus Open, and you could say, well, that device gets the ease of the second app better, but I don't like the aspect ratio, and what happens is I end up using it less, which tells me that for me, aspect ratio is more important than the ease of opening that second app. As long as they're close, I'm going to default to the aspect ratio, and because of that, I'm going to split screen more on the Pixel Fold than I do on the Open or the Z Fold. Now, like I said, I did that on the Duo way more than I'm ever going to do it on any other device, just because of the way that software works. But I'd love to hear from you guys. How true has this been for you? If you're a Duo user and you've gone to a folding screen phone, have you found yourself multitasking less? If so, how much less? And why do you think that is? Do you think I'm onto something here with it being a mixture of aspect ratio and ease of access? And if I am, how do they rank for you? Are you like me, and is aspect ratio actually the most important part for you? Are you different? I think this is a really interesting conversation. So like I said, hit those comments down below, guys. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more content just like this. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.